Hello and welcome back to Josh Davidson Books. This is my author YouTube channel where I'm continuing the series of my reread of my very first novel, Werewolves Hide, and offering author commentary and thoughts on my decision making as I was writing the story. This is all part of preparation for the sequel that I'm currently working on. I'm working on book 2 and have been for several months, and hope to have more information about that very soon. If you do enjoy this chapter or have enjoyed any chapters, please consider picking up the book. The digital version is only $4.99. It makes a big difference. If you do pick it up, please review it on Amazon. I've got links in the video description. So we are picking up right where we left off at the end of chapter 18, where Sheriff Theron has revealed himself to be an actual opponent and potential villainous character. And we have even more mystery building itself up before things are revealed, as Sterling found a secret staircase in the middle of the Anorthosite cave. Chapter 19. Outside of Tommy's house, his Ranger Jeep and Madison's silver mini SUV pull up right after the other. Much of the terrain around his home, like the museum, the trail, and mountains, is dark in the background. They park in front of a row of wooden railroad cross ties in front of the open gravel parking area. His house is of a similar log cabin style as the park office down the road. Blue-tinted pines surround his house to give it a feeling of seclusion. Tommy and Madison each get out of their own vehicles and look at each other without saying anything. Tommy walks a little ahead of Madison as he has a brisker pace with longer strides. She looks at his backside like she did when he ran down the trail at the park as he unlocks his front door and enters. As he disappears into the shadows of his home, the door slowly swings open instead of closing. Madison cautiously continues up the sidewalk to his house and slowly enters the front door. There's almost no visibility inside the house as all the lights are off. Some of the moonlight coming in through the trees gives a bluish-white glint to the window, highlighting the shape of Tommy's face as he waits for Madison in the dark. She approaches him before the glowing window as their silhouettes face each other. I'll spare you the details. If you want to know the steamy details, buy the book for $4.99. But Madison and Tommy finally, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word. Oh, consummate their love, I suppose. Not necessarily their marriage. But towards the end of that scene, the clock on the wall shows a specific time of 11:47 p.m. It fades and fast forwards while shadows from the cloudy night sky pass over it through the window. A little while later, the time now shows that it is 12:12 a.m. So there's a little bit of a time lapse after kind of the exciting night that happened at the park. Madison lies on top of Tommy, resting her head on his chest. His giant ranger coat acts as a makeshift blanket as she smiles with her eyes closed, listening to him breathe. Tommy is looking down at the top of Madison's head, softly caressing her hair. "Can you get that scratch on my back?" Madison asks contentedly. "Sure, here." Tommy starts scratching a random spot on her back. "Up more. Up. Down. Left a little. There you go." Madison sighs in relief from the scratching. So that is a payoff from earlier in the story when Madison was alone and had that hard-to-reach scratch and had to do it herself with a back scratcher. Now she's kind of getting the benefits of opening herself to somebody and being vulnerable with somebody and kind of seeing the value in having somebody else in her life. Yes, that's all you're good for, scratching my back. Again, it's a little detail. Tommy starts some rapid-fire questions. "Siblings?" "One brother." "You?" Madison quips back. "None." "Favorite color?" "Green." "And yours?" Madison's eyes open. "Black." Madison turns her head over to look at him. "That's not a color, that's a shade." "Well, when I was a kid growing up, I used it to shade in all kinds of coloring books, so it's a color and it's my favorite." Tommy is satisfied with his explanation. Madison keeps looking up at him. "Favorite food?" "Chicken and rice are pretty much all I eat, but when I want to be gluttonous, I'll do barbecue wings too." "That's just more chicken, though." "Well, yeah, I don't count macros and calories and work out just to lose all my progress for a little sweet tooth." Madison wants to talk about Tommy's physique. "Okay, be honest, I'm serious. Why do you have so much muscle? Like, were you pushed around as a kid and said, 'Watch this, you won't pick on me anymore'?" Tommy laughs. "No, not at all. I get along with pretty much everyone. I did when I was young, too. It started in my teens when I thought I wanted to play football, but I lost interest because of all of the religious stuff." "Oh my God, you're a jock." Madison is shocked as this is not typically her type. "But I thought you played chess." Tommy sits up and Madison sits next to him, continuing to cover herself with his ranger's jacket. He shakes his head as he responds. I do play chess. It's possible to like physical activity and a mental challenge. He laughs some more and then exhales. Not all jocks are the same. Don't jock shame me. But really at that same time, I started to get more of an interest in wilderness and history, and some opportunities came up for me to come back home and help with this park. So I've been living back in Blue Ridge for about 15 years and only spent a couple years away. Do you ever think that if you're born in the same place, live in the same place, and die in the same place, it would be as if you never existed? Like, why were you born just to never see or do anything and die, you know? Madison shares a deep contemplation. Tommy is a little taken aback, but playfully responds. First of all, dark. That's dark and we're having fun here. Secondly, no, I think, in the grand scheme of life, of the universe, and this planet, really, if you think about it, nothing matters. But when we're brought into this world and become our own people, it doesn't matter what others have said and done or will do. What matters is what matters to us. And if you do it right and connect with someone or a community of people, it will make a difference if you lived. And when that happens, maybe generations of people can't imagine never having had this life with you. So some deep philosophical questioning, really because, Madison, they're both feeling very vulnerable. They just slept with each other and kind of the surface level attraction and playfulness is kind of over. And now they're kind of both searching for deeper meaning. Like, what is this person really about? What do they really think? And is this something that's going to be serious and lead somewhere? And so I thought it was a really good opportunity to learn a little bit more about them and about their relationship. Madison is shocked at the depth of Tommy's response. I haven't been able to smile or laugh about anything for a long time. When I realized your cheesy sense of humor was working on me, I worried there wouldn't be much more to you. I'm glad I was wrong. Yeah, I'm every woman's dream combination of dad jokes and existential dread. He smiles at her, satisfied with his balanced personality as he continues. You can talk to me about whatever you want. I like listening and I like helping. If you can throw a little back my way too, we'll be in good shape. Do you have any scars? I do, yeah. Do you? He asks back. It's not really visible, but when I was a kid, I broke my wrist. Tommy is surprised and belatedly concerned. Oh no, what happened? Madison raises her left arm to show him how tender her left wrist is and explains. I don't really remember because I was too young, but my parents told me that my brother and I were playing basketball in the driveway when, for some reason, he decided to try and kick the basketball like a soccer ball. Apparently, I was right next to him and held my arm up to protect my face, and it hit right here on my palm. Clean hairline fracture. Madison demonstrates her wrist being pushed back. So we finally get an explanation to what happened to Madison's wrist and why she's still dealing with it. And as a side note, that actually happened to me when I was a kid. I broke my wrist. I was playing with my brother, but we weren't in a driveway. We were at a YMCA, I think. And he kicked a basketball, and I put my hand up to block it, and it broke my wrist. And so I there are things that I put into all my stories that, like, only people who know me probably know. And maybe people who know me, maybe they forgot. You know what I mean? So that was kind of a fun, real life personal injury that I thought would be fun to put in this story. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Does it still hurt? Tommy gently rubs her wrist. Madison scoffs. No, it's fine. I just have to be careful with it. I keep it wrapped at work, so it's mostly no big deal. How about you? Tommy suddenly takes his shirt off, but it's too dark to see his chest. Don't take this the wrong way, but I kind of hope you have scars everywhere. Madison giggles to herself. Tommy leans over to the side table by the couch and turns on the lamp. Madison looks at his chest and is stricken with dread, seeing 3 claw scratches going down his left shoulder onto his chest, similar to the dark wolf with white slashes that has been grieving her and Beau. She slides over on the couch abruptly, but slowly, to hide how frightened she is. She covers herself even more with his ranger jacket and frantically darts her eyes around the room, looking for her clothes to get dressed. She stammers and doesn't look at him while she asks, How'd that happen? Tommy continues as if nothing's changed. One of my first nights as a ranger with the park, I thought I could go all survival expert and camp out by myself. That was a bad choice, to say the least. I got attacked by a mountain lion. I did everything they said to do, appear intimidating, raise my arms to look large, throw stones, whatever. None of it worked in the moment. So side note, I actually did research on what to do if a mountain lion attacks you. So the steps that Tommy says that he took to defend himself is actually what they recommend that you do. That's some of the steps that I found in my research. Madison has put her bra on as she pulls her shirt over her head. She stands up and looks for her shoes. She pretends to half pay attention while her priority is to escape. Oh wow, really, don't say. Tommy is confused by her sudden change in behavior. He slowly finishes his story and then addresses her action. Yeah, I'm lucky to be alive. My old boss found me and got the lion to leave. Hey, what are you doing? What? What are you doing? You're acting strange all of a sudden. Is everything okay? Tommy gets up off the couch and walks over to Madison. As he stands, she jumps back toward the front door. It's locked with a deadbolt and chain behind her. He walks forward as she slowly creeps backward. Eventually, her back is against the entrance. Tommy catches up to her and puts his left hand up on the wall, purposely or accidentally shielding her from being able to look away. Madison tilts her face away from him, but her eyes slowly look toward him as tears begin to swell. Tommy leans in and whispers, I have a secret to share with you. So, Madison finally gives in, finally shares her whole being with another person, and sure enough, Tommy all of a sudden has a red flag that he promised was pushed down and has a matching slash just like the Dark Wolf. And again, no major future spoilers here, but that is definitely intentional because I want people who are familiar with other werewolf stories, who assume they know the rules and assume that this correlation will matter, that makes you think, oh, that Tommy is maybe a secret bad guy after all. Or maybe he's just a werewolf and doesn't know it. We don't know. But right now, the association, the inference is that, Tommy is secretly the Dark Wolf. Suddenly, we have a scene change and a flashback to Blue Ridge, Wyoming, 1902. A merciless snowstorm barrels down on the side of the mountain peak. The wind screams and the blue trees crackle as some of them bend and eventually break. Below the tree line, off the side of a mountain trail, sits a broken down wagon covered in gathered snow. In front of the wagon are the carcasses of 2 dead horses lying on the ground. The skin and bone remains are blanketed in ice, now frozen and unable to be scavenged for more. Inside the damaged wagon there sit 2 men. They are huddled together, shivering uncontrollably and embracing each other for warmth. The man on the right has short black hair and a black beard, wearing dark tan clothing. The man on the left has long blonde hair that peeks out underneath his hat. He has a matching blonde horseshoe mustache and is wearing light tan clothes. Their whimpering breaths can be seen in the coldness of the air as their gaunt cheekbones reveal how malnourished they are. The dark-haired man trembles as he speaks. Joe, I have a secret to share with you, which is the same thing that Tommy just said. Joe Briscoe shakes as he responds. Cole, you picked a hell of a time for it. Joe Briscoe can't help his sense of humor even in his darkest hour. Cole forcefully smiles as the cracks in his face form solidly around his mouth. Listen, you're the one with the family and kids. That ain't no secret, Cole. Joe, I'm trying to save you. Cole gathers his remaining strength and sits up. Now listen, there's a part of me that you've never known, that no one's known, and there are others in town like me, but I can't just sit here and die without trying to help your kids and help the folks that are my kind. Joe continues to shiver as he looks over in a bewildered manner. Cole, I know you're scared, but we just gotta face facts and go comfortably. Sit back down and cover up. Cole slowly crawls to the end of the wagon towards the entrance, where crates, boxes, pots, and pans are used to block it and keep the cold out. He starts tearing down the pile of random objects, slowly letting the wagon cover open as more cold air gusts in with a flurry. Joe sits up. Cole, no, what are you doing? And again, as a reader, I want you to be like, what the heck is going on? We were just about to find out that Tommy is the Dark Wolf. They finally got together. Madison is like scared for her life, and now we're going back to Blue Ridge in the 18 and 1900s. What does all this have to do with anything? Like, I want you thinking that, but hopefully, it makes sense. It's not a long flashback. And I can't remember when I got the idea for this flashback. I keep going back and forth in my memory if it happened in the moment before I wanted to reveal what Tommy was going to share with Madison, Or if I started to get the idea when I wrote the night of Bo's birth, and I was like, oh, I could do flashbacks here. But then again, the first chapter is a flashback too. So I genuinely don't remember when I got this idea to go back to this time frame, but I'm really glad that I did because I think it is really compelling and it fills out the world and the backstory. Cole rummages the supplies and finds his hunting knife. He gasps for air as he turns around and stands up as high as he can, crouching his head underneath the wagon canopy. He unsheaths his knife, and Joe is now taking this situation more seriously. Cole, please, what are you fixing to do? Joe pleads for both their lives, trying to understand what's transpiring. Cole gets teary-eyed as he explains. Joe, I'm part wolf, and I'm going to change into quite a scary wolf in a moment. But if you want to survive, if you want to live and see your kids again, you got to trust me. And don't make me do this for nothing. Joe is perplexed. Cole, you've lost it, man. The Cole got to you. The mountain's already won. Cole shakes his head no and continues. When I die, you need to clean me. You need to skin me. You need to dress me and skin me and wear my hide. It'll keep you warm and get you home. Promise me that you'll do this. Joe is literally at a loss for words and does not respond. Cole insists. Promise me. Okay, I promise. Joe stays confused and doesn't know what he promised to. Cole smiles as he is satisfied with his speech and Joe's commitment. He takes the knife and stabs himself in the chest over and over again, screaming and crying as blood seeps through his dark tanned clothes. Joe stands up and raises his hands as his survival instincts and self-preservation kick in. As the blood continues to build up on the floor beneath Cole, his body begins to grow, and his feet burst out of his snow boots. He rips his pants open using the knife and reveals a clump of white fur gathering on his right inner thigh. It spreads quickly around his whole body as his eyes change color and claws grow. In a husky werewolf voice, Cole says his last words. Get back to your family and protect this town, Joe. Help us, even if we're different. Cole uses the knife and viciously stabs himself in his change point. A river of blood runs profusely from his leg as his fur envelops his body and turns razor sharp. He turns around to exit the wagon at the last moment, just as his transformation is completing. Joe stays in the wagon but can hear Cole finish changing. The snarls, stomping, and breathing of the wolf can barely be heard over the whistling winds. Ow! Cole lets out a final pained whimpering howl as a dramatic thud and crunch is heard outside, indicating that he has succumbed to his injuries. Joe stares blankly at the wagon entrance as the canopy waves violently in the wind. He slowly walks the length of the floor, walking around the puddle of blood and reaching the opening. Through the blizzard lying on the ground, he sees the giant body of his friend Cole, a dead white werewolf. So we get another transformation. I expedited the description because I already really took my time when Bo transformed, so I figured that you would still have that imagery in your head and we could go through the transformation a little bit faster. And now we see that wolves can be, we know this because Bo was a blue wolf, but now this wolf is white. So we're seeing that there's actually a variety of colors when it comes to wolves. And now, if you're paying attention and you know that the dark wolf is black with white slashes, you might start to wonder, oh, maybe a dark wolf and a white wolf had a fight sometime and that's how that happened, right? So we end the flashback and we come back to present day. Tommy has finished telling his story when he hits a light switch, revealing a staircase that leads into the basement. He walks down the stairs quickly but stops halfway, reaching his hand back behind him. From the top of the stairs, Madison's feet nervously drag across each step as she hesitantly takes Tommy's hand to follow him. So far, so good. Apparently, Tommy did not end up hurting Madison. He's bringing her down to the basement, but maybe the basement's not safe. Tommy leads Madison as they navigate the various workbenches and wilderness items he has amassed. They arrive together at the back of the basement where a giant bookshelf sits. Tommy lets go of Madison's hand and slides the bookshelf out of the way, revealing a hidden door. He opens the door and walks into the dark room, reaching back again to take hold of Madison and invite her inside. She's too distracted by taking in what she's looking at to hold his hand, but she does proceed with walking in. As Tommy turns on yet another light, Madison is surrounded by historical werewolf artifacts and Blue Ridge memorabilia. Different newspaper clippings of giant wolves and monster sightings are interspersed with other headlines of stranger saves kids from the river and unknown savior drags family wagon back to town. The years on the articles begin in 1896 and stop somewhere around 1969. The centerpiece of his collection, behind tempered glass and a light display, is the white wolf hide from the story he told Madison. Tommy explains. Handed down from generation to generation by my great-great-great-grandfather Joe Briscoe. Next to the wolf hide is a wolf bone blade, a giant pure white sword handcrafted with the remains of a werewolf. It's crudely assembled, dangerously sharp, and has a crossguard attached to a rigid bone-shaped handle. Tommy continues, the rumors are true and Bo is right. We do have wolves in Blue Ridge, and he's one of them. That's the end of chapter 19. So when I was writing the scene, I knew that Tommy was going to reveal that this other wolf hide existed, and that he is a descendant of Joe Briscoe, the founder of Blue Ridge, who we talked about in his opening monologue on the tour in the park. So everything that was kind of teased and discussed in the beginning of the book really kind of coming around now and paying off. And I think when I knew that he was going to make that reveal, I thought, similarly to the night of Bo's birth, I thought, I want to know where this hide came from. Let's get some information and let's create a little bit more intrigue at the same time. So I did a little short couple-minute flashback, and we see the origin of the white wolf hide. And yeah, again, really happy with that one. From a pacing perspective, I think it felt right to, we kind of apexed, we peaked with a secret mountain door, and it felt right to bring it down and have more character moments with Tommy and Madison. But then we peak again with the flashback to Old Town Blue Ridge and the origin of the white wolf hide, and finding out that Tommy, is a descendant of Briscoe. So really fun stuff. That was chapter 19. So we've only got 6 chapters left. So not much room to go now. Really happy with that chapter. Really glad that I put it in the book. And if you enjoyed this chapter or have enjoyed any chapters, please consider supporting the writing by buying the book. It's $4.99 for the digital version. You can buy the paperback or hardcover if you want. All those links are in the description as well. I am currently working on the sequel. And if you want to follow my author journey long term, please consider subscribing to this YouTube channel, like and comment on the videos. If you do comment, try to keep it spoiler free or have a healthy spoiler warning, and try to keep the comments relegated to just this chapter that we read. As always, thank you for watching or listening, and I'll see you in the next video.